G'day, this is the fifth poem in the Warbles in the Wilderness series. This one's a bit of a serious one. It's called Socio-Historical Quantum Theology. In it I'm going to have a go at uniting Captain Cook, Einstein, Australia's flag, the missing mass of the universe, and prove that the God theory is correct and the creator of the universe does exist. Okay, strap yourselves in. Socio-Historical Quantum Theology. In the year of 1768, a wooden sailing ship set forth from frozen Little England in the hemisphere of the north, under the command of a navigator by the name of Jimmy Cook, commissioned by his king to go out and have a look at the sky in far Tahiti in the middle of the day, seeking signs of Planet-Vulcan and to find it if he may. For when Venus went before the sun in 1769 in June, this Planet-Vulcan might be visible, half the mass of our Earth's moon. Such mass back then was thought to be between the sun and Mercury, for Mercury's orbit was perturbed by that much mass's gravity. But on the day, as it turned out, they saw a Vulcan not a sign. It seemed to them that they had gone and wasted all their time. So they set their sails for home, tracking south a bit from west, found there a great big dry old continent, and so, as a sort of second best, they claimed this was theirs to take for the English king, made up for lack of seeing Vulcan and softened failure's bitter sting. And that perhaps is maybe why you still may see there, flapping in the sky, its symbolism sewn there in bits of coloured rag, Cook's expedition's object portrayed on Australia's flag. English Jack has gone a-wandering on the orders of the boss, searching for a planet that was never there in the sky of the Southern Cross. And what became of Vulcan then? A question you might ask. In 1912, young Einstein took up that very task. With his relativity-equation, his E equals mc square. Take the gravitational field of the sun, he said, and write that over there. Now divide it by light speed squared, said he, and answer in kilograms. Albert, that's exactly the mass of Vulcan. Well, golly gosh and damn. Einstein replied, that's right. And it's all true too. A secondary mass effect is what that is. The joke's on all of you. Because for a century and a half, all the astronomers had been and gone, chasing eclipses and staring at the burning edge of the sun. They were fixated upon mass as the cause of gravity, the pull of which was clear to see. But there wasn't a mass there at all, just concentrated energy. So back in the 1980s then, when the headlines trumpeted clear that 90% of the mass in the universe, it simply isn't there. Well, the astronomers went wild as hornets. They tried every crazy thing. Two even scored a Nobel Prize for dreaming of cosmic string. They used it to tie their worldview together again. At least that's what I think. With garbage passing for logic, their assumptions made one blink. For they can see where the gravity has been in the universe, so they say, as the galaxies are all clumped together as a result of that gravity's play. But just as they did with old Vulcan, without the hindsight of an ass, they're desperately trying to imagine where lies the responsible mass. You'd think the story of Einstein and Vulcan they never ever have read, nor the razor of mighty Occam, or anything else which he said. For the clumping of those galaxies, which is, of course, caused by gravity, which itself may be caused by secondary mass effect, and therefore, so you see, the question to be answered is, what is that field of energy, spread unevenly through space-time and growing somewhat like a tree? Is that the life force, the creator, enlivening souls like you and me, living on planets around all those suns and thinking thoughts just as do we? Socio-historical quantum theology. And it's all true too. I didn't make any of it up. I've never been happy with the idea of the missing mass of the universe. And I published that in 1996, in December, in a book called Bush Poems, which was published back in the days when I was so naive I thought I was a bush poet just because I live in the forest. December 1996, ISBN number 0646306744X. With a fairly comprehensive background to the poem, which was actually written on the 21st of the 10th, 1996. And because it's a 500-word ballad, it takes up more than, and it runs over leaf. Now, for Christmas 1996, I sent copies of this book to the editor of New Scientist magazine, because I thought I'd done a pretty spectacular thing. I'd explained that missing mass was wrong and cosmic string was wrong, and there was an energy field out there. So the editor of New Scientist wrote back to me and said, "We have a policy against publishing verse, but we did enjoy the pictures." So that was very nice for them. But they didn't print anything that I wrote. But perhaps you can't blame them. You see, when I printed this book, I was such an autodidactic pseudo-intellectual, and I'd taken up poetry because I discovered I could rhyme and get the rhythm a bit correct. But I wasn't aware that a poem is supposed to warn the reader with a capital letter at the start of each line, and I didn't know that. I was too naive. So perhaps that's why the editors of New Scientist decided socio-historical quantum theology was obviously the work of a fruitcake. How could there be energy causing gravity? So they thought in 1996. But then come along 1998 and a couple of astronomers decided that there wasn't any missing mass out there. They decided there was an energy field. And they said that the energy field was creating the gravity due to its secondary mass effect. And the astronomers, they didn't call it the life force spirit energy of the creator of the universe like the poet did. Oh no, the astronomers called it dark energy because it wasn't luminous. So they're in line for the Nobel Prize, and the poet gets to live on the Endangered Species Sanctuary, and now everybody knows who won that race. When it's steamboat time, people design steamboats all over the world. When it's aeroplane time, people design aeroplanes all over the world. And when it's time to dispense with dark mass and explain that there's an energy field out there, the poet won the race. Snicker, snicker, snark. Chortle, chortle. Tee-hee. Socio-historical quantum theology. Proof of the existence of the Creator. Or as the Aborigines would call it, biome.